The city never slept. The bustling streets and the noise of the city formed the backdrop of its inhabitants' lives. In this city of light and darkness, of noise and silence, worked Detective Andrew. Standing tall at 6 feet, at 40 years old, with slightly greying hair and a piercing gaze that seemed to read people's thoughts. On an ordinary evening, Andrew was in his office, thoughtful and quietly smoking. The files on his desk were scattered haphazardly, but Andrew's mind was perfectly organized. The phone on his desk began to ring insistently, interrupting the relative silence. "This is Andrew." "Please speak," he answered, gazing absently out the office window. "Andrew, we have a murder case. A body has been found in the city park," said Sergeant Dash on the other end of the line. "I'll be there immediately, Dash." "I'll be there in 10 minutes, Andrew replied. The city park was quiet that night, with only a few police officers patrolling the area. Andrew was greeted by Dash, who had a grave expression on his face. "What do we have here?" Andrew asked. "A young woman around 22 years old. No identification was found on her. A passerby found her and immediately notified the police," Dash explained. "Let's take a look," Andrew said, approaching the body. When Andrew shone his flashlight on the woman's body, a macabre scene appeared. It seemed she had been brutally murdered, and a deep cut was visible on her neck. "She was stabbed, but it seems not here. Notice the position of the body and the lack of blood around," said Andrew, lighting a cigarette. "The woman was brought here after she died," Dash added. Andre meticulously searched for other clues. In the end, he found nothing out of the ordinary, but his instinct, which never failed him, told him that this case was more complicated than it seemed at first glance. Andrew organized his team. They took statements from witnesses and checked the surveillance cameras in the park area. They also conducted research on the victim's identity. After a few days, they discovered a gold necklace near the place where the body was found. The necklace was engraved with a name, Iris. "Finally, we have a starting point," said Andrew, looking at the necklace. "Try to identify Iris." Dash began searching the police database. He had 2 clues: a name and the disappearance of a woman. It didn't take long to identify her. Iris P., a 22-year-old woman who had been missing for a few days. Andre felt a chill down his spine. Usually, whenever they found a clue, the cases became more complicated. "Let's go to her address. We might find something there," Andrew suggested. When Andrew and Dash arrived at Iris's apartment, they were greeted by an elderly neighbor who seemed worried at the sight of the police. "I saw Iris last about 3 days ago. She was very scared and nervous," the neighbor said with a trembling voice. "Did she say anything about where she was going or about her problems?" Andrew asked. "No, but I noticed a man who had been following her for a few days. He didn't seem to be someone known in our neighborhood," the neighbor added. In Iris's apartment, Andrew found a diary hidden under her bed. It described a mysterious man who was stalking and threatening her. On the last page, the name Bingo was written. It seemed to be the nickname of a man. Bingo wasn't a common nickname, and Andre expected to find him quickly. With Dash's help, they began investigating everyone in Iris's circle who might provide information about this Bingo. Perhaps he was a relative or a friend? After a few days of investigations and interrogations, they found the suspect Bono D, also known as Bingo. "I think we found him," Dash said, pointing to Bingo's file. "Let's see what we can get out of him," replied Andrew, ready for confrontation. They went to Bingo's address and found him at home. Bingo was a man of about 30 years old, with an unkempt appearance and a fierce look in his eyes. Bono D, also known as Bingo? Andrew asked, showing him his police badge. Yes, what do you want? Bingo replied, visibly uneasy. We want to ask you a few questions about Iris P. We know you know her, Andrew said with perfect calmness. I haven't seen Iris in a long time, Bingo said, trying to appear calm as well. We have evidence that you followed and harassed her. Tell us what you know, or we will arrest you, Andrew insisted. After about an hour of interrogation, Bingo broke down. He admitted to stalking Iris, but vehemently denied killing her. It was just an obsession. I would never have killed her, Bingo said, tears in his eyes. So who did it? Who had a motive to kill her? Andrew asked. I don't know, but I heard she was seeing someone, a rich guy named Gabriel, Bingo replied. Andrew felt a bitter taste in his mouth. This case was becoming more and more complicated. Fortunately, they had a new name and a new lead to follow.